Picture this. You're in the bedroom. The lights are low. Everything feels right. But there's this deafening silence hanging in the air. You're touching her, kissing her, doing all the physical things you think should be working. But something's missing. She's not as responsive as you hoped. The energy feels flat. You wonder what you're doing wrong. Here's what most men don't realize. Your silence is actually killing the mood. While you're quietly going through the motions, her mind is wandering. Her insecurities are creeping in, and that fire you were trying to build is slowly dying out. But what if I told you there's one simple tool you already possess that could change everything? A tool so powerful it can make her feel things before you even touch her. A tool that separates the men who give mediocre experiences from the men who give experiences she'll never forget. That tool is your voice. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to use it to create sensations in her body that most men will never be able to produce. Let's get something straight right from the start. Most men approach intimacy like it's a purely physical checklist. Touch here, kiss there, move to this position, then that one. They treat it like assembling furniture from a manual. And sure, the physical aspect matters tremendously. But if you think that's all there is to it, you're leaving the most powerful weapon in your arsenal completely unused. The reality is that a woman's arousal doesn't work the way yours does. For you, physical stimulation alone can often be enough to get you completely aroused and ready to go. Your body responds quickly and directly to physical touch. But for women, arousal is far more complex. It's psychological, emotional, and deeply connected to how she feels in the moment. Her mind needs to be engaged just as much as her body. This is why you can do everything physically right, hit all the right spots, use perfect technique, and still leave her feeling disconnected or unfulfilled. What women actually crave, what they admit in anonymous surveys by the thousands, what they whisper to their close friends, but rarely tell their partners directly, is that they want to feel desired, not just attractive in a general sense. Not just pretty or beautiful in the way you might compliment her dress at dinner, but sexually desired in a raw, undeniable way. They want to know that you're not just going through motions or fulfilling some routine. They want to feel like you're consumed by wanting them specifically. And here's the crucial part that most men completely miss. Desire isn't just shown through actions. It's communicated most powerfully through words. Your voice, the things you say, the way you say them, the timing of when you say them. This is what creates that intense feeling of being desired that unlocks everything else. Think about it from her perspective for a moment. She's lying there with you, and maybe you're touching her, but you're completely silent. What's going through her mind? Is she wondering if you're actually enjoying this? Is she questioning whether her body is appealing to you? Is she worried about that part of her body she's always been insecure about? Is she thinking about the dishes in the sink or the email she forgot to send? Without verbal feedback, without hearing your desire expressed in words, her mind has space to wander into all these unhelpful places. But the moment you speak, the moment you express what you're feeling and what you're noticing about her, everything changes. Your words pull her out of her head and anchor her firmly in the present moment. They silence her insecurities and replace them with confidence. They give her permission to fully let go and experience pleasure without holding back. Now, if you're thinking this sounds difficult or awkward, I understand completely. For many men, speaking during intimacy feels uncomfortable, even embarrassing. Maybe you grew up in an environment where sexuality was treated as something shameful that shouldn't be discussed. Maybe you were raised to be quiet and polite, and the idea of saying sexual things out loud conflicts with that conditioning. Maybe you tried saying something once and it came out wrong, or your partner reacted in a way that made you feel foolish, so you decided never to risk it again. These are completely understandable reasons for staying silent. But here's what you need to understand. That discomfort is costing you and your partner incredible experiences. The men who learn to overcome this awkwardness and use their voice effectively create intimacy at a level that silent men simply cannot reach. They satisfy at a level most others never achieve. And the great news is that this is a learnable skill. You don't need to be naturally smooth or confident. You just need to understand some basic principles and practice them until they feel natural. Let me break down exactly what you need to say and how to say it. These aren't complicated scripts you need to memorize or theatrical performances you need to put on. They're simple, honest expressions of what you're genuinely feeling and noticing in the moment. The first category of phrases focuses on appreciation and desire. These are statements that make her feel seen and wanted. The simplest version is describing what you love about her body or her presence. When you say something like, "I love your body," or "I love the way you smell," you're doing something powerful. You're taking a sensation you're experiencing, something you're genuinely noticing, and you're naming it out loud. This seems simple, but it has a profound effect. Many women carry deep insecurities about their bodies. They worry about their stomach, their thighs, their breasts. Countless things that you probably find beautiful, but have never thought to mention. When you specifically call out something you love, you're giving her permission to stop worrying about that thing and instead feel confident about it. The key here is specificity. Don't just say generic compliments. Notice real details and mention them. "I love your hips" hits differently than just, "You're beautiful," because it shows you're paying attention to her specifically, not just reciting a line. "I love your soft skin" works because you're describing a sensation you're actually experiencing as you touch her. "I love your shoulders in this light" works because it combines visual appreciation with the specific moment you're in together. This specificity makes your words believable and authentic. It proves you're not just saying things you think she wants to hear, but expressing what you're genuinely experiencing. And here's something crucial. Don't overuse any single phrase. If you tell her you love her body 10 times in a row, it loses impact and starts to sound robotic. Sprinkle these appreciations throughout the experience, 1 or 2 at key moments, then move on to other things. Another powerful phrase is simply telling her what's happening with her body that she might not fully realize. When you say, "You're so wet right now," you're doing multiple things at once. First, you're giving her information about her own arousal state that she might not be fully conscious of. Men have very obvious physical signs of arousal that are impossible to miss, but women's arousal signs are less obvious to them in the moment. By naming it, you're making her aware of her own excitement, which actually increases that excitement. It creates a feedback loop where awareness amplifies arousal. Second, you're showing her that you've noticed, that you're paying attention to what's happening with her body, which makes her feel seen and desired. Third, you're giving her permission to feel that arousal fully without shame or embarrassment. The way you deliver this matters enormously. Say it slowly, close to her ear, with a tone that shows you find this incredibly attractive. Let her hear the appreciation in your voice. This simple statement, delivered correctly, can be devastatingly effective at intensifying the moment. Then there's the direct expression of your own desire. When you say, "You turn me on so much," you're communicating something vital. You're showing her that she's not just passively attractive, but actively doing something to you. She's having an impact. She's creating an effect. This sense of agency and power is intoxicating for most women. It's the difference between being looked at and being desired, between being pretty and being irresistible. The phrase works because it combines appreciation of her with disclosure of your own state. It creates intimacy through vulnerability. You're telling her what she's doing to you, and that openness invites her to be equally open about what she's feeling. Use this phrase when you genuinely feel a surge of desire. When your own arousal escalates noticeably, let your breath carry the words. Don't rush them. The slower and more deliberate you are, the more weight they carry. Feedback during intimacy is another category of communication that's criminally underused. One of the simplest and most powerful words in the bedroom is just yes. Women want feedback just as much as men do. When her touch, her movement, her rhythm is giving you pleasure, let her know. A slow, deliberate yes tells her she's doing something right. Yes, like that gives her specific information about what to continue. Yes, stay there, tells her she's found something that's working. Yes, don't stop, communicates urgency and intensifying pleasure. This kind of clear, affirmative feedback transforms guessing into confidence, and confidence creates heat. Without this feedback, she's left wondering if what she's doing is working, if she should change something, if you're even enjoying yourself. That uncertainty kills momentum. Your verbal confirmation removes all doubt and allows her to commit fully to what she's doing. And if she changes something and you lose the sensation you were enjoying, guide her gently back. Say something like, "That right there," while showing her with your hands or body what you mean. The combination of words and physical guidance creates crystal clear communication. This isn't about being demanding or controlling. It's about creating a feedback system where both of you know what's working, so you can give each other maximum pleasure. Think about how much better this is than the alternative, where both people are silently guessing and hoping they're doing the right things. Observation combined with appreciation is another powerful tool. When you say, "You look so sexy when you go down on me," or "You look so sexy when you bend over like that," you're doing something specific. The word sexy is important here because it's not just complimentary, it's explicitly sexual. You're not saying she looks pretty or nice. You're saying she looks sexy, which invites and reinforces the sexual nature of the moment. And by tying it to a specific action or position, you're creating a mental map for her of what you find most arousing. She now knows that this particular thing drives you wild, which means she's likely to do it again in the future. You're essentially training each other in what creates maximum pleasure, but in a way that feels hot, rather than mechanical. You can also shift from visual to auditory observation. "You sound so sexy when you moan," accomplishes the same thing, but focuses on her vocal expressions. Many women feel self-conscious about making noise during sex, worried they sound strange or too loud. When you explicitly tell her that her sounds turn you on, you're giving her permission to be vocal, and vocal women tend to experience more intense arousal and orgasms because they're not holding back or self-monitoring. Expressing explicit desire for her pleasure is incredibly powerful. When you say, "I want to see you come," you're communicating that her pleasure isn't just acceptable or nice, It's something you actively desire. This is gasoline on the fire of arousal. Many women have absorbed messages throughout their lives that their pleasure is less important, that sex is primarily for men, that they should be grateful if they happen to orgasm, but shouldn't expect or ask for it. When you explicitly state that you want to watch her experience pleasure, that you want to see her let go completely, you're countering all those negative messages. You're making her pleasure the goal, which paradoxically makes it more likely to happen because she's not worried about taking too long or being too demanding. The timing of this phrase matters. Say it when you've settled into a consistent pattern or technique that you know works for her. Don't say it right at the beginning when nothing has built up yet. Save it for when momentum is already building and she needs that final push to stop holding back. Direct, bold statements of desire work powerfully at the beginning of an encounter. "I want you right now" is simple and declarative. It cuts through any ambiguity or uncertainty. You're not hinting or hoping. You're stating clearly that you desire her right now, in this moment. This is particularly effective if you've been together for a long time and intimacy has become routine or scheduled. That direct statement reframes the encounter from obligation to desire. It signals that this isn't happening just because it's been a few days or because you're supposed to, but because you genuinely want her. If you're in public or around other people, a whispered version of this with sustained eye contact can set the entire evening on a charged track. It creates anticipation that builds for hours. Direction and instruction, when delivered with the right tone, can be intensely arousing. "Take it off" is a simple command, but there's a primal pleasure in undressing for someone who's genuinely hungry for you. The feeling of being revealed to someone who clearly wants to see you creates a powerful vulnerability and excitement. The key is delivering this with warmth and desire rather than cold demand. You're not barking orders. You're expressing what you want in a way that shows how much you want it. If direct commands feel too aggressive for your dynamic, soften it slightly. "I want to see you without this," while guiding with your hands accomplishes the same thing with a gentler touch. Now let's talk about delivery, because this is where most men stumble, even when they have the right words. The difference between these phrases landing as incredibly hot versus awkward and cringeworthy comes down entirely to how you say them. First principle, match your words to your breath. Slow down your exhale deliberately. Speak on the exhale, not the inhale. This naturally lowers your tone and calms your cadence. When you speak on rushed breath, you sound anxious. And anxiety reads as lack of confidence, which kills the mood. When you speak on slow, controlled exhales, your voice naturally deepens and steadies, which reads as confidence and control. Second principle, anchor everything to sensation. Say what you can actually feel, see, or hear in the moment. "You smell incredible" works when you're close enough to actually smell her. "Your skin is hot" works when you're touching her and feeling the warmth. "You're shaking" works when you can actually feel or see her trembling with arousal. This keeps you out of performance mode and grounds you in the present moment. It makes your words authentic rather than rehearsed because you're literally describing reality. This authenticity is what makes the words believable and powerful. Third principle, slow everything down. Rushing your words sounds anxious and nervous. Anxious doesn't read as confident, and confidence is essential for this to work. Speak like you're pouring a very thick liquid, letting each word have weight and space. This slowness also makes you sound more deliberate and intentional, like you mean exactly what you're saying and you're savoring the moment. Think about the difference between someone rapidly saying, "You turn me on so much," versus slowly saying, "You turn me on so much," with pauses between each word. The slow version is infinitely more powerful because the pacing itself communicates intensity and control. Fourth principle, speak less than you think you should. A dozen perfect words land with more impact than 100 scattered ones. Be specific, deliver your line, then let silence do some of the work. The silence between statements allows each one to sink in and creates space for physical sensation to take center stage. If you're constantly talking, your words become background noise. Strategic silence makes each statement more impactful. Fifth principle, don't ask for reassurance at the wrong time. Avoid, "Does that feel good?" right after she started to climb toward orgasm. That question pulls her out of sensation and into her analytical mind where she has to evaluate and respond. Use observation instead. That, yes, right there, gives her the same information without requiring a response that would interrupt her experience. Save genuine questions for earlier in the encounter when you're still figuring out what works. Timing is absolutely critical. Use appreciation early in the encounter when you're building connection and comfort. Use feedback during active stimulation when you're refining technique. Use explicit desire statements when momentum is already building and she needs encouragement to fully let go. Don't flood the first minute with 5 different lines. Place one sentence, then touch, then breathe together, then another line later. Think of your voice as a rhythm instrument that syncs with your hands and the movement of your bodies. Everything should feel integrated rather than like you're performing a separate show with your mouth while your body does something else. If you want to create intense moments, combine one of these phrases with a physical shift and steady rhythm, saying, "You look so sexy when you bend over like that," right as you guide her hips into position and settle into slow, deep pressure, creates a completely different and far more powerful experience than saying the same sentence from across the room while you're getting undressed. Now, if you're feeling shy or awkward about this, here's how you practice. Set aside 5 minutes when you're completely alone. Turn off your phone so you won't be interrupted. Sit or stand comfortably. Close your eyes, picture a real intimate encounter you've had, or build a new one in your imagination. Let your breathing slow down naturally. Say one of the phrases out loud at about half volume, not a whisper, but quieter than normal conversation. Then say it again, even slower. Then place one word on each long exhale. You, turn, me, on, so much. Feel your mouth forming each word. Notice any tension in your jaw and consciously relax it. Repeat this same phrase 3 times, focusing on making each repetition smoother and more natural than the last. Then switch to a different phrase and do the same thing. Practice 3 different phrases each day for a week. The goal of this practice isn't memorization. It's teaching your mouth, your breath, and your nervous system that these words can come out of you calmly and naturally. If you can't say these things out loud when you're alone in a room, you're definitely not going to be able to say them with a partner present. The privacy removes the performance anxiety and lets you build genuine comfort with the words themselves. After a week of this daily practice, the awkwardness will have faded significantly. You'll have built muscle memory for speaking these phrases smoothly. and you'll find they come out much more naturally in actual intimate situations. Some additional guidelines will make everything smoother. Don't try to imitate someone else's voice or speaking style. Don't try to sound like an actor in an adult film or copy a friend's style. Use your normal voice, dropped by 1 notch in pitch and slowed by half in pace. That's it. Your authentic voice, with slightly lower pitch and slower pace, will sound confident and sexy. Anything more becomes performative and fake. Don't say lines you don't genuinely mean. If you don't actually love a particular body part, don't compliment it. Find something you do genuinely love and appreciate, and say that instead. Authenticity always trumps saying what you think you're supposed to say. Don't comment on anything she cannot change in the moment. This should be obvious, but it's worth stating. Never mention things that might trigger insecurity, like weight, skin issues, or anything else she might be self-conscious about. Stick to things that are either universally positive or tied to what's happening right now. Avoid comparisons to other people ever. Don't mention past partners. Don't reference celebrities or fantasies about other people. Keep your attention completely on her and on the present moment you're sharing together. If your partner is shy or inexperienced, begin with appreciation about less explicitly sexual things. Comment on her scent, her warmth, the softness of her skin, the way she's breathing, or the way she's moving. These are deeply personal and intimate without being graphic. They build comfort and connection before you move into more explicitly sexual language. You're teaching her that verbal communication during intimacy is normal and positive, which makes her more likely to use her voice too. Let me give you a quick arc you can follow tonight or the next time you're intimate. During initial kissing and touching, place one appreciation line like "I love your body in this light" or "I love how you smell right now." As arousal starts to rise and you're actively pleasuring each other, give 1 or 2 short feedback cues. Yes, like that, or right there. Don't stop. When you feel her confidence building and she's starting to get close to orgasm, place a desire sentence. "I want to see you come," or "I want to watch you let go completely." As you're undressing each other, add direction. "Take this off," or "Let me take this off you." During the peak moments, keep language minimal and rhythmic, rather than complex sentences. Yes, yes, don't stop. Just like that. After everything is finished, place one sentence of gratitude and appreciation. "I loved watching you let go," or "That was incredible." This single closing sentence acts like a seal on the entire experience, validating everything that happened and making her feel appreciated rather than used. If you want to build your own phrases beyond the specific examples I've given, use this simple template structure. Appreciation plus specificity equals phrases like "I love your," followed by a real detail you notice. Desire plus immediacy equals phrases like "I want you," followed by "right now," or "tonight," or "so badly." Feedback plus direction equals "yes," followed by "keep that," or "stay there," or "slower," or "deeper." You cannot go wrong with this basic trio of structures. They cover all the essential categories of effective bedroom communication. Let me close with some important cautions, and then a specific challenge. First, don't weaponize your voice. If you try some of this, and she doesn't respond exactly the way you hoped, don't withdraw affection or sulk. or make her feel bad about it. Words are invitations, not contracts. She might need time to get comfortable with this kind of communication, especially if it's new to your dynamic. If you both end up laughing or having a giggle fit at some point, that's completely human and normal. Smile, kiss her, and keep going. Laughter during sex isn't a failure. It's a sign of comfort and connection. If you're in a new relationship, start with less explicit language and build up as trust grows. Don't call her any names during sex that you haven't explicitly discussed and agreed upon during a normal conversation. What one woman finds exciting, another might find offensive or degrading. Consent applies to language just as much as it applies to physical acts. Here's your specific challenge to put this into practice immediately. Tonight or the next time you're intimate with your partner, use at least 6 words. You turn me on so much. Deliver it slowly on an exhale when you genuinely feel desire rising. Don't rush it. Don't throw it away casually. Really mean it and let your voice show that you mean it. Tomorrow or the next time after that, add one appreciation line like, "I love your soft skin," or "I love your scent," at a moment when you're genuinely noticing and appreciating that thing. Over the next week, practice 3 phrases alone for 5 minutes each day, using the method I described earlier, and place 2 different lines in each intimate encounter you have. You will feel the difference in how you experience intimacy. She will absolutely feel the difference in how desired and seen she feels. And you'll both want more of these deeper, more connected experiences. This is how you move from being just another guy in bed to being someone who creates experiences she'll never forget.